Today's AskReddit post. What weird thing does your body do that you just accept? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. Sometimes when I yawn, saliva literally squirts out of my mouth. No idea why. It's kinda weird. I think this is called gleeking. I sat by a kid in freshman physical science class that would gleek on our teacher from about 20 feet away, and the teacher never figured it out because he was fairly old and had horrible eyesight. What the actual fuck did I just read? Some kid in high school would spit on old people who had poor eyesight. Whenever I have to get up early next morning, my brain won't just let me sleep. I have this too. 6 AM flight. No way I am sleeping the night before. I also have chronic insomnia, so I've always just lumped it with that issue. I get anxious about the fact that I have to get up in the morning for something and then worry that I won't get enough sleep for that thing and what will happen if I'm too tired, and then next thing I know hours have passed and I'm less tired than I was before. I'm so scared I'll oversleep that I often can't sleep at. Then I end up sleeping in 1-hour intervals because I keep waking up in a panic thinking I am late. Sometimes a part of my body just twitches. Shoulder, toe, bicep, etc. etc. It stops after a while, but I can never get a good look at it because if I move my head it stops. Doesn't hurt and only happens every few days. That always happens on my ass cheek for some ungodly reason. I'm gonna need some picture proof. I have exploding head syndrome, which is a lot scarier sounding than it actually is. A sleep phase disorder. Basically, when I'm falling asleep I occasionally hear random phantom noises that startle me back awake. For me, I most commonly hear someone shouting my name, an unintelligible brief yell, knocking on the door, or the doorbell. I've noticed over the years that it tends to happen mostly when I'm overtired and or anxious. And I may not have one for months and then have them every other day for a week. Edit. Oh my, this comment exploded. Hell, I'm amazed how many people relate. I don't have the syndrome. But sometimes when I'm really sick and I try going to sleep I hear a door slamming shut or explosions outside and I jolt awake. Doesn't happen often. I don't have this syndrome but I have all the symptoms. I will just randomly get a huge chill which looks like a mini seizure. People always ask what's wrong. Edit. Genuinely surprised at how common this is. Glad to see I am not alone. Go me too. Doesn't even have to be cold for my body to randomly be like okay, shake time. OYSSS. Random shivering. I have neurological issues that make me have phantom feelings. For instance, the last 2 days I've had a burning sensation. Like if I'd rested a hot soup bowl on my thigh. But there's nothing there. It can feel like little bug bites, scratches or streaky burns. It's never severe, mostly just weird to feel a distinct sensation for no reason. Sometimes I'll ask a family member to check for marks. The other day I pulled up my shirt, turned around and asked my mom if there was anything on my back. She was like, oh my goodness, there is. Looks like one of the cats got you. And we were both so weirdly delighted I'd actually been mauled. LOL. Judging by your name, I imagine you know about ticks and Lyme disease. Have you been tested for it? It is Lyme disease. LOL. I've been tested using 2 of the tests and this is one of the weird things it can do. I haven't kept up on it lately. Are there more treatment options on the horizon? Not really. There's a lot of woo, which isn't for me. But, as for legit options, not so much. In fact, I'm in Florida and the Mayo Clinic here directed me to a faculty in Minnesota. When I yawn and stretch I become blind for a few seconds. Don't know if that's normal. Are you perchance maybe closing your eyes? Edit. Someone popped my golden cherry. Thank you, generous virginity taker. I have spinal stenosis. Basically my vertebrae are thickening and pressing against my spinal cord in my upper neck and lower spine. It causes numbness in my extremities and I have to do special stretches to help relieve the pressure, but man, sometimes I'll sit for a little bit too long and it's like my feet don't exist. I'll try to walk but it's like walking on stumps. Back to the stretches and within 10 minutes the feeling returns. I used to do 100-mile bicycle rides. Now I'm lucky if I can walk 3 blocks without tripping and falling. I subconsciously have my stomach tensed all the time. I have to concentrate to relax it. I do this, but for me I know why I do it. As a kid I was always told to suck your belly in, and that's it for me. Same here. That dress would look great if you sucked in your tummy. Thanks mom. I get ocular migraines sometimes. They're not terribly frequent, though maybe once in a while they'll be persistent for a week or so. It's a strange experience. No pain, no headache, but an actual blind spot develops in my vision that appears sort of like a lightning bolt. It hovers there for about 20-30 minutes then gradually subsides. I'll tend to feel a bit weird for maybe an hour or two afterward, but then back to normal. They seem to be triggered by a combination of poor sleep, dehydration and, maybe, caffeine and stress. Have had them off and on for about 10 years probably. Consulted with a couple doctors about it and they've said it's probably nothing to be too worried about unless it starts happening more frequently intensely. I've been getting these for about 15 years or so. Only last a few hours. I get the lightning flashes in some part of my vision. After a while it spreads until I'm completely blind, followed by nausea, then real bad pain. Once the pain starts my vision comes back though, so it's not too bad. Same here. Started experiencing migraines with auras since I was 14. The light sensitivity and dizziness gets so bad sometimes I have to be in a quiet dark room or I'll start throwing up. I was born with a disorder that makes crossover motion between both sides of my body more challenging. Riding a bike took me a year to master. For context, the hardest thing for me to do autopilot is stairs. Though, if I don't think about it, my body automatically goes one at a time with both feet rather than alternating. Interesting. I work with little kids and we do a lot of things that involve crossing the midline to help strengthen this skill. And it can also have an effect on reading comprehension later in life. Does it affect your ability to scan a page from left to right while reading? Yes. I usually read the whole paragraph at once instead of tracking word by word. I get sharp intense pains on the left bottom side of my ribs randomly. I just suck an air and hope my rib didn't puncture my lung. Sometimes it's when I'm working out, but sometimes I'm literally just standing there and whoops popped a lung. Edit. Some more context. I'm 18 and have been experiencing these since I was 15. Happens whether I breathe in or out. Hurts like hell for a minute and then passes. I mainly breathe in more air to stop myself from screaming. I've never seen a doctor for it because I saw a post online saying that most teenagers experience this pain because our ribs are growing. Don't know the medical truth of that, but whatever, it calmed my tits and made it easier to live with. I hope one day we are all cured from whatever this nonsense is. Precordial catch syndrome? Does it worsen when breathing in? I get this. And yes, it does. Unfortunately, the only way to make it go sometimes is to breathe in past it. Then it clicks, and the pain is gone. I think I have something like this and it feels like there's a bubble in my lungs, then once I breathe in deep enough it pops causing a sharp pain, then it's gone. Supposedly it could have something to do with growing pains since I'm a teenager, but I'm not sure. Used to get it daily as a teen and now as a 20-something it's very rare. Thought I was dying as a kid. You'll be fine. I'm white and pale. Normally avoid sun exposure due to not tolerating heat well and skin cancer running in the family. But earlier this summer I spent quite a bit of time in the desert. I got several shades darker, except for a bunch of random spots that are still white. They weren't covered and had the same amount of sun exposure as the rest of me, but just no color change at all. Biggest spot is on my bicep, but there are random spots everywhere. I've always had a streak like that along my hairline. Hair also grows in white there too, that my mom said was a birthmark. I'm guessing these new spots have always been there too but never apparent because I avoid sun exposure. Vitiligo. My hands started getting white patches about 2 years ago and now it is starting to go up my arms. My skin doc diagnosed it as vitiligo. Unfortunately there aren't really any treatments for it. I make a weird croak sound with my throat whenever I yawn. Me too. It's so awkward when I'm in a call because then the person is all, did you just burp? Now I'm a frog. Yep. If I dare to take even a bite or drink from a trigger food, it's frog time for the rest of the day. I don't feel dehydrated even though I am. When I was a kid, I've gone whole days without drinking anything. I've just learned to force myself to drink water every hour until I developed this routine. I never understood how my lips were supposed to feel like as they were always dry. I have this. I have to have a water tracking app now because otherwise I'd go a couple days without drinking anything. Fine in winter, but in summer I've passed out from it. What's the name of this app? No longer accepting it. But for the past 6 years I have had random bouts of really violent projectile vomiting that last anywhere from 12 hours with me vomiting every 20 minutes or so. Edit. Did not expect to come back to so many replies 24 hours later. For those who mentioned cannabinoid hyperemesis, I took an 18-month break from all THC consumption, which did no good whatsoever. I am in a recreational state but do not smoke dispensary weed. I like my outdoor all-natural bird poop weed. I have a chest x-ray and upper GI scheduled this week. Here's hoping I can figure something out. Like just for no reason? There's a reason. Surely. But what it is, I couldn't tell you as yet. I quit drinking in hopes that would make it stop. But nah, no luck. Only thing I can correlate to the timing when it started happening is getting a copper IUD. That's getting removed soon. I am lucky all my friends have been really good about it when it happens. Because I am sure to someone who doesn't know me it looks like purging a demonic possession. I had a GF a long time ago who had a copper IUD. And she was physically miserable all the time. Just constantly in low moderate pain. After we broke up, she said her sister mentioned to her that she, the sister, had a mild copper allergy. Upon learning this, my ex-GF had the IUD removed and felt much better overall. I'm glad she found health and I hope you do too. I get one-time hiccups every now and again. Just to make them a bit more noticeable, they sound like someone stepped on a squeaky toy, or as someone once thought, a ninja bird squawking behind her. It's a great icebreaker if nothing else. It's worse when I get regular hiccups and it sounds like a puppy going to town with its new toy. Edit. I guess we've found our squeaks. Squawk. What should we call ourselves? Exclamation point. I get these too. Just a random one hiccup and then nothing, and people always stare at me like I'm a freak. This. I don't often get the hiccups but I do frequently hiccup. Just one. People will usually comment, oh man, the hiccups suck, and I'm like, nah, just the one. I'm good. If I focus on my heart I start to freak out. In socially stressful situations I feel compelled to find solitude and I do this weird jazz hands thing, which sounds like stimming. Sometimes I genuinely forget to breathe if I'm mentally distracted. There's all sorts of weird shit this body does. I give it like a 3/10 overall. I've been freaking out about my heart for the past few days. When I'm distracted, I don't think I feel anything, but I notice all sorts of nonsense when I focus on my chest. For context, I'm 21 and otherwise healthy, so I think it's likely an anxiety related issue. Regardless, I'll prob ask a doc to record my heart for a few days to make sure nothing problematic is happening. As someone with an anxiety disorder who also gets anxious notices scary things when focusing on their chest. This sounds anxiety related. Obviously check in with your doctor for peace of mind. But anxiety does weird shit to the body. Something that comforts me is the fact that I never get any of the palpitations, weird fluttering etc. when I'm fully immersed in an activity, like running or biking. I also have an anxiety disorder where I hyperfixate on my heart pulse blood pressure. It's annoying as hell when I'm suddenly convinced my heart isn't beating when I know that it is. I have Alice in Wonderland syndrome. It's a real thing. Honest. Basically, sometimes my brain makes me think that I'm swelling up, like I'm being inflated like a balloon, and I feel all big, like I'm getting too big for the room. That normally happens when I'm starting to feel sleepy. Occasionally I'll go the opposite way and feel as if I'm being squashed down from above. Like a giant hand is pressing me down into the road and everything is towering above me. I can normally ground myself by feeling myself and reassuring my brain that I'm normal sized if it's a big balloon feeling. Or by staring up at the sky then slowly adjusting to the horizon for a few moments if it's a squashed small feeling. I think I used to get something like that when I was younger. But it only really happened when I felt sick. It scared the heck out of me. Exactly the same. I remember as a child not being able to explain to my parents what the sensation was and using the word bigness. I've never had it as an adult, though maybe once or twice while falling asleep or in a dream. If I sit or lay down for a little while, 10 plus minutes, then stand up, I get really lightheaded and my vision goes blurry for, like, 10 seconds. Then I'm back to normal. I think it might be a blood pressure issue, but I still have no idea what it is. I can do normal activities easily, including biking for miles on end, but apparently I can't stand standing up. Sounds like low blood pressure. This is it. Add more salt into your diet and stand up slowly. Source: I have LBP and it took me 15 years of fainting to realize all I need to do is eat more salt. Sometimes my hands go numb when I laugh too hard. This has only ever been a problem whilst driving. Edit: I don't have narcolepsy or cataplexy. Please stop trying to diagnose me with things. Thanks. Maybe you shouldn't run people over, but it's so much fun. I've mentioned this in another sub, but I have bipolar disorder, and one aspect of this, and many other disorders, is intrusive thoughts. So I'll just be chillin' living my life, feeling fine, and my brain will be like, I want to kill myself, I wish I were dead, I can't do this anymore. And I'll just be like, huh, okay, and then go back to what I was doing. That and random repetitive questions. My brain asked me what is your greatest strength multiple times a day for about 2 weeks, lol. Edit: so I googled it, and technically intrusive thoughts are supposed to cause great distress, which these don't. I have had the scary violent ones too, but since I'm properly medicated my experience is much more tolerable. Oh, me too. Sometimes I'll just be washing my hands and I'll look in the mirror and mouth I am gonna kill you and then get on with my day. The worst is when the doctors gave me the wrong drug and I went psychotic and hallucinated that my hand was in a bowl of chili for what felt like hours. Edit: since this is getting seen, I also can't smell for no reason. Never have. Oh god, that sounds like an awful and also bizarre hallucination, lol. I can't imagine. Hallucinating is so ducking stressful. I can't handle it. I'm glad you're on better meds now, though. Fuck. Nope. No meds. This was before I knew that I was bipolar and they gave me an antidepressant and it did some kind of magic and I lost like a week. I only remember that hallucination and one other and my decision to escape the hospital through a window. Then I bought Razins and they found me. Was an interesting way to be diagnosed. Hope you're having good brain days in this pandemic. It's already hard enough without being able to have a schedule. On I was given an Lexapro when I was institutionalized and it ducked me up. Antidepressants and bipolar is not a good combo. My ankles and knees click when I go upstairs. Like I'm literally just walking upstairs and they're clicking away. I'm only 28, lol. Not overweight or anything. No idea why they keep doing that. But yeah, it is what is. Imagine a shooter coming in and then Mr. Clicky Legs gives away your hiding spot. Hahaha, gave me a good laugh. Face with tears of joy. Cheers. I forget to breathe and only realize it when I feel faint or have the sensation of blacking out. It happens many times throughout the day. Are you secretly an alien trying to blend in with humans? My pancreas just refuses to produce insulin. It's really annoying, but what can you do? Man with light skin tone shrugging. Diabetes type 1. What are you gonna do? My palms start to itch and swell if I am in a crowded place. I used to think it was some kind of allergy, but I am noticing recently that the swelling starts whenever I'm in places that make me feel uncomfortable. That's anxiety, my friend. Hate it. Sometimes when I get an itch, I scratch the area that is itching, but it feels like I'm just scratching skin and I don't feel a relief. But when I scratch somewhere close to the area but not the exact area where it's itching, it relieves. It's so weird. I have an itch on each of my thighs that is only satisfied by grabbing something sturdy and scrubbing the inside of the arches on my feet with it. How did you discover that's what satisfied it? Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.